Hey guys, we're back again. So, I made a little bit of progress on the artwork again. So, I didn't go too far, obviously. I just got a very, very basic sketch down for the Western hackamore, specifically the bosal. So, we got the start of this one going. So you guys can see how this has been. So we started with this one, and I got the horse's mouth fixed, so it actually lines up with where the mouth is. So we don't have a floating bit anymore, thankfully. And then we have the flash version, the no noseband version, the figure 8 with the little middle piece, and finally a racing bridle, which I still kind of don't like the way that this falls off here. It's kind of bugging me. It just feels like it blends in too much with the try something like that instead. There we go. Still kind of looks weird, but also the horse's head has just very big... horse's head has very thick lines, so oh well. I feel like it looks just a little bit better than what I had before. Okay, so we're gonna turn all these guys off and we're gonna move into working on the Western bridle. So here's a reference of what I originally had set up. Here is my rough draft to work with, just to try and get a estimate of the sizing. So what I'm kind of thinking is going with like a thinner bosal. I don't think I want to do something super thick like some other games have done. And then it's just a simple strap along the horse's head that goes around, ties to both, you know, connects up around the head, and then of course ties back to the bosal, and the bosal goes down, and it's a rawhide bosal that then has, I believe it's called mechate. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but the mechate. I tie up to that and then work as the reins. So that's basically what we're working with here. And I'm hoping to at least get like all of the basic stuff done for the Western bridles, even if it ends up being like some of them being just rough sketches. That would still be better than nothing. And then I'm thinking maybe next one we'll try to do some of the the endurance tack, and possibly a couple accessory pieces like halters and stuff that are head-based. But we'll see. I'm not sure how much I'm gonna get through today just because of how kind of tired and worn out I am, unfortunately. You might hear it in my voice already, because I have done a lot of talking at work this week, including today, and usually... Oh, this feels a bit too thick, honestly. Normally Fridays are my training days off, so like, I still work, but I don't train people. I use the day to get my stuff together, so I at least have, you know, one day a week where I'm not getting constantly bombarded by work, or by trainees and training. I didn't get that this week. I had to work with somebody on my Friday, so my voice is a little bit hoarse because of that. So apologies if I don't talk as much this time, but I still wanted to try and get some streaming in related to artwork. I think that works okay. It's a little bit thin at the end though. Tuck that forward just a touch. So let's compare this to a reference source really quick just to try and get a rough idea. So obviously our reference source won't match up one-to-one because I didn't design it to. I don't think I like the very long string hanging off of it, so I think I'm gonna take a look at what else I have for references on this and see. Yeah, because this one has it tied much shorter, so does this one. Okay, I kind of like that a bit better. So let's pull pull this in and try out making a knot that looks a bit more like this. I think that works good enough. This isn't gonna work the way I was hoping it was gonna work. Maybe. I can still use this as like a kind of rough... Because my thought process is the Bozal mostly has like a thicker upper section to it. So if you're looking at it from this angle, it kind of goes like this. That's not too thick. That's pretty okay. Well, so far so good. I mean, this looks like a bosal to me, so... I'm kind of debating if I should have it up a bit higher on the nose. But if we compare... Yeah, if we compare to English, maybe just put it up about the same height as where it falls on an English bridle, just to be safe. That's okay. So far, so good. And we still need to draw the reins, which is going to be interesting. So let's try... Actually, you know what? Let's turn this one on and use you as our reference instead. This will be a little bit more... Ooh, this is hard to make out where this actually lands. Okay, so it looks like one of the reins come out like this, and like this. One comes out like this. This is definitely not going to be easy to translate over. my god. Well, it still looks kind of messy, I'd say, but I think this is pretty close to the general idea of what I was trying to do, which is, you know, it's tied up around here. Someday I'd like to have my own Bozal, so that, like, Bozal Hackamore, so I can actually look at this stuff and compare. That's a good start for the Bozal, at least. And then pretty much... oh, I see. I didn't make the reins close here. Go. And then dark brown bits. Let's go ahead and grab that. And what I'll do is I'm gonna make probably these sections the dark brown. Too, or not Mickey. Well, maybe. But this bottom part of the Bozal can also be a dark brown. So these, and this. And then I don't think I colored. Yeah, I didn't color the reins differently on that one, but also Mechate tend to be uniquely colored. Maybe what I'll do is... something like this. I think eventually I might have to come back to these reins though and try to make them look more well made, I suppose. I'm not super happy with it, but for now we're gonna use this color to differentiate the reins from everything else. So that's not my thing with that. Let's go ahead and color in all the reins here. Okay, so they come in all sorts of colors, like a white cream color is one, like for cotton. So I think that works, especially to help differentiate that. So the main thing isn't to make it look super good and realistic. The main thing is mostly, does this look like a different part of the bridle? AKA the reins in this case. So there we go. That's not too bad. I'm gonna throw you in there. I'm gonna delete these guys. Delete you, delete you. Okay. Oop. So far so good. Okay, so loping is going to be an interesting one, because the loping is basically a copy. Oh, you know what? I bet I have loping over here already, don't I? I do. Let's just delete you. Hold this out instead. There we go. Okay, so a way I saw the loping one is it feels like a combination between a rope halter and a bosal, because you basically have the rope elements, or you have the rope elements kind of attached into what already looks like a bosal of sorts. A lot of these, though, do have a brow band kind of tacked onto it a little. The bottom part down here gets a little messy too, because it needs to come across. So one of our best examples is going to be this. Now, for the loping though, I don't know if I really want to be making it out of leather parts like this one is. I kind of just like the general idea of it being, so if we look at this other example I have here, I kind of like, actually this one might be a better example, to be honest. I like the look of this one where it is a bunch of pieces of leather strung over the horse's head and then combined with the rope elements to hold it together as a full bridle. So it really starts coming across as something that's more of a combination in a way. And then the cool thing about this is we already have a huge part of the bridle already put together. So now we just got to figure out how we want to add on the loping elements. So basically what we have here is we have a part that goes down here, part that goes over here, part that goes here, and then we have two parts that come in here, you know, hook up to here, hook over to here. We got another knot here. This knot comes out here. This knot's down here. This comes down to here. Everybody knots up down here. So that's the rough idea of what we are attempting here. Extremely, extremely rough. So let's make you a touch bigger and try to kind of see how we want this all to very, very roughly line up. It's gonna be a little bit ridiculous, but gets us a idea. So this one's gonna be the loping hackamore. We're gonna come in here again, and then what we're gonna do is toss in a brow band here. And my thoughts with like a lot of these segments to each section, like brow bands, nose bands, etc. All of these can be modified, I'm thinking, with texturing. So like changing what it looks like texture-wise. So you have like the basic shape, and then from there modify it further so it, you know, is a bit more than what you started with. So this is a super, super basic shape, but once you start modifying it, you know, you make this look like it's braided instead of a solid leather piece. That could be really pretty. That's kind of what I want to do. Okay, so the knots are going to be the most confusing part of this, because it's very hard to get a good reference when it comes to those. And obviously I don't own any of these pieces attached, so I don't exactly have any means of trying to, you know, hold these and take photos of them and like feel it out physically. So that makes it just a little bit harder. So basically we gotta kind of just use the best references we can get, see where that gets us, you know, and then go from there. I like the way I did the lines on this originally, to be honest. So maybe I should just try to recreate roughly those lines best I can. So I think one thing I did make a mistake on here, though, is there's supposed to be two things that come down through here, and I think when I originally did this, I didn't want to bother. So what ended up happening was there's only the one. So I'm gonna try to correct that. And attempt to draw two ropes coming down. I'm kind of thinking with this is I know this is not going to line up perfectly, but I'm hoping maybe I can line up this bottom section roughly, and then from there I can start kind of reworking it with the bozal I just made, so everybody kind of lines up nicely. I don't know if I'll ever need to redo these knots though, because I'm not sure how much sense they're making. Because I know when I originally made these knots, I was like, I'm just gonna make something that roughly looks like a knot and call it a day. And like, I can still do that, obviously, but I'm also kind of like, part of me is like, I want to make something that still looks good and not just like vaguely okay. So I guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so that should at least give us a starting point now that I can work off of compared to what we had before. So let's start by making this baby bigger. That's not too bad already, actually. Yeah, that definitely gives me a better starting point. Okay, so I'm actually gonna turn this version off, because this will be easier to work with. So this gives us a brow band. And then pretty much want something that works a little bit like this. You know, so far so good, I think. It's not looking too shabby so far. nice thing about this is I can literally just make all of this disappear inside of Mechate, to be honest. Okay, so there we go. And YouTube doesn't think I'm still listening to music because it's stupid. Again, not too shabby. I'm liking it so far. It works. Okay, so now though, with the way that this one's gonna work out, we're gonna need to erase parts of the bridle instead. Base parts of the leather bits. Just so they don't interfere with each other pretty much. Okay, so here's the fun part. We gotta try make sure we get all the right fills here. There we go. And we just erase out anything we don't need. So previously I made the bridle color red. I don't know if I want to keep it red or if I want to change it to something else. Not bridle, the rope halter section. I kind of want to keep it red, but maybe I'll make it more of a diluted red. Yeah, not so bright. So for the English bridle, I did keep this part the same color, so let's go nab ourselves this red here. And let's try something a little more dark red instead. So technically some of this could also fall within the rope halter. So this is where it's going to be a little more complicated to try and figure out how I want this knot to come together. Because it's a little hard to tell with some of these. It's different ways it meets up. Maybe I'll leave that off and I'll leave that in brown. And it'll just connect up here instead. I think I might have to fix this bottom knot here eventually, because is, yeah, it looks different on different bridles. I'm gonna leave it as that for now. I think it works okay. I don't really want to mess with it too much. I'm pretty happy with where it's at. Okay, so order-wise, the mechanical is next. So this one. So basically the mechanical bridle works very similarly to the Bosal, where it does put pressure more on the nose. But you have to be very careful with these kinds of things, Bosals included, because you put too much pressure on a horse's nose, you could snap its, nasal bone. The thin part of the skull where that pressure is getting applied. But with a horse that's properly trained to take those signals, good hands, it is as good of a bridle as any other. So I wanted to include mechanical bridles because I feel that they can have a very unique look, and I think they're an interesting type of tack. So same as the loping hackamore. So you got your normal hackamore, you got your loping hackamore. This thing gets so weird when I try to use my pen to turn things on and off. It's like, oh, you want to turn them both off? Okay. But I like that these two are lining up well, and I'm hoping if I eventually work on any sort of 3D models based off of these concepts, it'll make the 3D model process easier too, because then it's like, okay, let's build the Bosal, and now let's build this on top of the Bosal. Hopefully it'll make it easier. Hopefully. So let's go ahead and duplicate you. And then we won't need the rope section, because it won't be in use. Oh, I forgot to fix the lines on you. Let's fix you. Okay, so we'll call this the rope. I think everything else is probably fine. I might put the reins above everything though, just so it's still on top. And then for this one, we can get rid of that segment because it won't be in use. And let's delete the color, because again, it won't be necessary. Delete the masks on each of these. Reins are going to be different because it's going to work more like a traditional rein. And then the headpiece works also more traditionally. And the mechanical hackamores come in various different styles. Some of them have the flower styled, it's not a bit because it doesn't go in the mouth. I'm not sure what you actually call it. But you can see which kind I'm going to be aiming for. See if I can find a better reference for this type though. having a hard time finding something that actually says what the name of this type of hackamore is, so I can look up more examples of it. It's actually, this one calls it an English hackamore. Interesting. Maybe I should reconsider what kind of hackamore, what kind of mechanical hackamore I want to do if that's the case. God, I hate that every single thing on the web when you try to download it is now a frickin' web file instead of like a PNG or something. Something useful. Yeah, like mechanical hackamores are not technically unique to Western writing. I was just putting this under the Western writing in hopes that it could count as like another style for that. But I might reconsider then if it's not really as Western-y as I thought. Okay, what else do we have in here? We have the ear hole one. And we have the no brow band style, but with the same bit as this one. So... screw it. We'll take all of them out. There's only a couple left over. So as you can see, I kind of went pretty simple on the image on all these. Let's go look at these two. So for the ear hole one, I didn't want this to just feel like the no brow band, no nose band one. Because like, that's just a little too easy. It's like slapping slapping the, what am I trying to say? That's basically like slapping just an ear hole stall on top of it. So I thought, well, why not make it like thicker like this? Because I found both cases for the ear hole. I found ones that were just the straight one, and I found ones that were more, like bowed out and kind of more showy. And I like the showy look to make it feel unique. So here is my reference for that. Not sure if this is like a curly or if the horse just has really messy mane. But you can see here it has the ear hole going around it. There's actually some bridles that are one ear hole only. Obviously 2 ear holes are more stabilizing, but some people just want 1 ear hole. I'm gonna do both ear holes because I think, personally, I'm not a fan of the singular ear hole. It looks kind of silly. Like, it's like, wait, where's the other one, you know? Just realized I lost my black. Okay, so let's look at the English bridle again. Let's make a duplicate of you just so I have you to look at as a base. So this time we gotta make this curve around the horse's ear. So we're gonna turn this down really low. Mechanical hackamore. We'll come back to you. I'm gonna relabel you as work in progress because I'm gonna reconsider if I want to do the style I was gonna do, and the one that I had was very low detail. So I'm gonna look at a couple of the styles I have for references and some of the stuff I was just pulling up. I think I'm gonna come back to the mechanical hackabore after I've after I've thought about it a bit more. So we'll see with you. And then this one is gonna be. So we're going to be using shank bits on these because that's more traditional for Western riding. So if you look at this one, this person's using a ring bit instead. I'm not going to use a ring bit. I'm using shank bits on all of these just because it's more traditional Western. So if you look at the two references I have here, both of these are using the same style of bit. Both of them are using shank bits, normal reins, etc. This one is just intended to look more showy, to resemble like the way this one is set up. We'll see how it goes. So you could kind of almost consider the earhold bridle as like one of the more intentional show style bridles, but I think you could probably have it in different like appearances where it's like, oh, this one is like, you know, less studded out, doesn't have as many fancy elements to it. So it's more of an everyday earhole styled headstall versus like one that's covered in like rhinestones or whatever, and it's like got fancy leather etching or something ridiculous like that. So we're gonna get rid of that, and then for the lines here, let's just get rid of everything, honestly. And we're gonna need a separate thing for the bit, because once again, we're working with bits. Which actually, speaking of, I'm gonna need a good reference of one of those. So let's grab you. Do we have anything else? This one's pretty good. They're all facing the wrong way though. How dare they? It is so hard to find good examples of exactly what I need. Where it's like, you know, this style of headstall mixed with this specific you know, bit and stuff. Like, people just don't have a lot of those things out there on the internet for free. Or it's like really hard to get Google to find it, at least. Okay. So I think first things first, what I might do, you know what, we'll keep you over here and we'll make a duplicate of you. We're gonna line this up and get a rough draft of what we want. I'm forgetting where to go to my opacity. Okay. So, get this about roughly lined up with my horse head here. It's not going to be perfect, unfortunately, because I have a very specifically shaped horse head here. But we're just going for rough estimate, not for perfection. Always zooms out so fucking far. Okay, so basically what we're going for is something that kind of bows out here in the middle and then comes back in. Because I don't want just this specific appearance. Like, this one actually is a lot thinner down here. Probably for good reason, but you know what? I'm doing my own thing. So we're gonna give this a try. With what idea I already have. So we're gonna have this go a little something something like so. Okay, this one doesn't. Oh no, wait, it doesn't stick out like that. I'm thinking of the other part. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So this part here has... Actually, the way that this one, the realistic one, not my shitty rendering here, does it is it's up here and then this kind of hooks in like so. And then we have a buckle located about here that goes like so, and then the rest of it kind of, that's not what I wanted. The rest of it kind of comes off like so. I feel like this is already feeling a little bit off because of me trying to follow what I'm seeing rather than what I need. So let's try to fix that a little bit. So we're trying to get down to this part of the mouth. And then for the shank bit, try and make a note for myself so I know where the horse's mouth is supposed to end up. Okay, so this is supposed to land about here. Maybe not quite that large. I don't know if it needs to be smaller than that. Maybe just a touch. Something like that, maybe. Definitely ends before the edge of the horse's mouth, so... Let's try to get a better representation of this. So obviously this won't match up perfectly to my horse, but this will get me a very vague idea of what I'm trying to do here. So that's the edge of the mouth. Yeah, that's kind of close enough. Okay, I think we got the sizing about roughly right. Yeah, I think that's okay for the sizing. Okay, we're not too far off. Okay, which just means I need to fix how this comes in though. Let's adjust this quite a bit. Okay. Oh, this is still feeling a little off. Because I think, like, trying to follow that original thing was throwing me off, so we're probably gonna have to make a few different rough drafts of this. But we'll sort it out. So basically it's gonna go a little bit something like this. I don't think I'm gonna do the opposite side rein though. I didn't do it on the English, so. I also didn't do it on my original concept art. Maybe I'll do it later. Okay. So that gives us a new rough draft to work with. So So now, I might still make this a rough draft just so I'm not messing this up. Okay, so now we know where we want things to start going here. Because this, like the way I have this is way too close to the horse's eye for it to be functional. So what we need to do instead then is start scooting this baby down so it's at a more reasonable level for something like this, especially with that big flashy part of the leather. You don't ever want anything that close to the horse's eyes. So something a little bit more like this is going to work a little bit nicer. It's not going to be so ridiculous. I'm still going to have to come back in and fix the snaffle bit, or the shank bit, not snaffles, shank bit. Okay. So, there we go. We already got a bit cleaner looking bridle now. From here, now we can start cleaning it up even further to make it feel much nicer. Okay, so for this segment here, I'm a little bit worried about how this is looking, so let's see if I can fix it up a little bit, right? Feels like it's a little bit off to me. an awkward angle to work with though, no doubt. Oh, you know what? I'm seeing a missing piece on what I normally do with what I should do with this. Okay. So if this is gonna be where it connects up like so, I also had a plan to have like another bit of this kind of stuff right about there too. So that could probably help a little bit with this feeling of this being a little bit of an awkward shape, because it kind of helps hide the endpoints on it just a bit. Maybe. Okay. Debating if that's a bit low on the ear. Maybe I should raise this up just a touch. Just so it feels more in line with where the brow band normally falls, you know? Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. I think it makes a bit more sense. There we go. Okay, I think this is coming along pretty nicely. Shank's gonna be a little hard to recreate. So I got a thought here. Obviously we haven't finished the ear hole, but delete you. Maybe delete you for now. Erase it off of these areas. So we're going to do a different bit altogether. We're going to delete the nose band. And then the bridle itself, we can get rid of the mask on it, and then we're going to start erasing everything on the bridle, just about. Let's see if this is gonna work okay for my thought process. Oh, it's part of the reins as well. That's fine. Okay, so we can get rid of all of this, shockingly. So, we still gotta build the shank bit, but technically speaking, as for the other version, which is literally just gonna be the most basic possible headstall you could ever have, no brow band, no nose band, just the shank bit. This is basically all that's gonna end up being here. So, I'm actually gonna have to move this guy down, to be honest. But that gives us a starting place. I wish it would actually turn stuff off when I tell it to. I'm honestly starting to get tired, because like I said, long week this week, a lot of talking. I might actually call it here. I did get all the roughs except for the mechanical, just because obviously, as I said, with the mechanical, I think I'm gonna do a little bit more research and see, because I think I'd like to keep the mechanical in. I'm just debating back and forth between if I should do the specific mechanical I had, do I want to count that as a Western bridle, etc, etc, because I was trying to aim for, if you look at my original sheet here, let's make a duplicate of this thing and make it a bit smaller so you can actually see everything. It's a lot of, God, give me the edge of this thing somewhere. It's a lot of tack. A lot of tack, so. I don't know if I'll stream more this weekend besides Sunday. I still want to do Bioshock, obviously. But what we got planned for the tack stuff, if I keep doing these concept streams, so you can see here, the English bridle had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the Western had 5 as well, with the mechanical making up one of them. But also at the same time, the shadow roll would get discounted, so I could technically discount the mechanical as well, because the shadow roll isn't English per se, it's more English in a sort of, well, racing is not really Western, so why not make it English? And then the no brow bound, just very easy. Like I said, it's basically just a shank version of the basic English bridle. And then for endurance bridles, these guys are interesting because the Western one is literally a rope halter mixed with just a basic kind of easily detachable or removable Western bridle. So this is one that has the has like a little button up here to very easily, you know, have that stay on, but then you can just slip it off the top of the horse's head, take the bit out, and then the horse has a halter on. The snap-on is just a literal, very thin, basic halter that's a little bit different from the nylon. At least that's what I was planning on doing. I don't know, maybe I'll just make it the nylon anyways. But this one has a snap-on for a bit, which would just be a normal snaffle bit. And then the third one for Western, or for endurance, is going to be a side pull, because I felt the side pull didn't really fit anybody specifically, and I thought, well, why not make it the endurance bridle, you know? So that way there's at least something that's like unique, but not just part halter. And the side pull, not as easy to pull off as the other two, obviously, but you probably just undo one of the straps and then, you know, slide the thing off the horse's head, whereas these two are meant to be very, very quick and easy to take off. But I'm thinking the side pull is going to be more something that's like a more traditional but has been modernized kind of bridle. I'm not sure, but with endurance though, the idea of endurance is you can use any of this tack, besides maybe racing tack, but you could use any sort of tack for endurance racing or riding in general. Any type of endurance riding. You can use anything for that, but obviously there is like stuff that is slightly more specialized to endurance or more based in endurance traditions or sport. And then down here we of course have the halters and stuff. So if you go further down, it goes from standard halters, which is just nylon leather, breakaways, a decorative one, and a padded one for travel, to the Western halter, which is just the rope halter, endurance halters, which includes the Western one as well as the snap-on bit style one, and then a couple show halters with a Western and English and Oriental style one. So this is the kind that you see like on Arabians a lot. So that is the plan. However, I'm quite tired, so I think what I might do is just call it done here. But you know, I still appreciate being able to do these, and I hope you guys enjoyed. But yep, I'm gonna call it done, so I will see you guys next time. Bye!